going to go over anytime soon. We are starting in 4 minutes. Debunking common myths around ransomware.
Come and take your seat. Come and take your seat. We're going to start in 3 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, please make yourself available to come to the station. Thank you.
We are starting in 1 minute.
Thank you very much for ladies and gentlemen for making yourself available to attend our third cyber podium for CIDES 2023. Once again, please give a big round of applause to our presenter here from Sentinel-1 who's going to present about debunking common myths about ransomware. Please stay until the end of the show and we get the very special credit from Sentinel-1. Alright, so I will welcoming Mr. Prateek to be on stage. Please welcome, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. But, are you not wondering why are we still talking about ransomware? Is it not an old age problem already? It is something that started in 2012 and we are sitting in 2023. Is it not a problem that we have already solved? Why are we even talking about it? Or is Prateek so out of date? He must have woken up from his slumber today and that's the reason he still wants to talk about ransomware and not something very fancy like APT or nation state attack or whatnot. This is precisely the reason why I chose this topic of ransomware and debunking the myths around ransomware. Because ransomware is understood in its limited form today. Ransomware has been evolving, but the solutions and the anti-ransomware controls that we are putting in is not evolving with time and with the evolution of ransomware attacks. As they say, knowing the enemy is half the battle won. The same holds true for cybersecurity. Knowing your cyber enemy is half the cyber battle won. And that is the reason we would talk about how the ransomware is evolving and how it is changing its facets and how can we do a better job at fixing the ransomware problem that we have in hand. And if ransomware is not on top of your agenda when it comes to cybersecurity, you need to revisit your agenda items and priority list. Because sooner or later, it is an attack that is going to happen to all of us, and we do not even know about it. So it's better we be prepared for it. And it is just a matter of time when we see a screenshot like this on one or all of our systems. And this is when the time starts ticking. Now it's almost like a time bomb. Now it tells you that I have 8 days and 12 minutes before I decide what do I do with this. Should I make the payment? Should I negotiate with the ransomware threat actors? And what should I do? First of all, if my CEO or my manager sees this screenshot, they all go in panic situation. The CEO would call the security officer or leader saying that I invested so many millions of dollars in security and I'm still seeing this screenshot. What happened to those big millions of dollars I had invested in security? What should we do next? How should I answer? Who is responsible for it? What has been impacted? What should we pay or not? What should we do? What are the next steps? And everybody is in a panic situation because of one screenshot. And that's where you have no idea what options do I have, whom should I contact. The security team, the business team are left wondering, should I contact my OEM partner, the network security partner, the network service provider, the managed service provider, the insurance provider, or whom should I get in touch with? Because it's a panic situation. And what options do I have? We should understand, the more time we are losing while deciding whom should we get in touch while we are not taking action, the more time we are taking to decide what action to take, we are losing money, we are losing business. And it is not just about the business loss, the inherent or the direct business loss that we all are incurring, but it is also about the reputation loss. It is about the other ancillary cost that is associated with it. The notification, the post-breach response, and the business impairment. The average cost of a ransomware attack is $4.62 million US dollars on an average. It is an average one, by the way. It can be a lot higher depending on your businesses. You would find this interesting. You know, ransomware threat actors have become very smart. Before they decide the ransom amount, they, as they have already got hold of your network, your systems, they first of all find out whether you have a cyber insurance policy or not. They also look at your revenue numbers, and then they decide the ransom amount that they want to demand, which is typically 3 to 5% of your annual revenue. So they are getting smarter with every passing day, and because of that reason, your cost of ransomware is always increasing. And it is not just the business impact. It is going beyond the business impact. How many of you remember the Colonial gas pipeline attack in the US? Can all of you remember when it happened? So because of the ransomware attack on Colonial gas pipeline, there was a lot of panic and unrest on the streets as the entire east coast of the US was not able to refuel their cars, and they were not able to get gas for their cars and vehicles. And nobody knew, the common citizens did not know whether it was a cyber attack or it is an attack against the nation. And because of which there was a lot of panic. I'm not sure whether the picture is clear. There are long queues of cars lining outside the gas station. People filling the gas in big trunks because they have no idea whether they will get gas the next day or not. So it was a total state of panic on the streets. Another example of the largest hospital in India. It's called All India Institute of Medical Sciences. Recently, they had a ransomware attack, because of which the appointment system where the attendees, where the patients could book the appointments in advance, the system was down. Because of which people came to the hospital in big numbers so that they can be attended without an appointment. And there was a lot of chaos and panic in the hospital itself. So it is not just about the business losses, it is also about the social angle of the ransomware attack that we should be worried about. Because we very commonly say sometimes, oh, I am an organization where we are not concerned about the business loss because I'm a not-for-profit organization and I only offer social services. But inaccessibility to social services is also a big challenge in a big outcome of a ransomware attack. So what does happen? How the time is lost when we see that screenshot and as we are not prepared to respond to a security incident. So this is typically how the things will start or kick off when a ransomware attack would happen. So detection of a breach on day 0, then there would be an engagement outreach to an incident response provider, which will take 3 days because you will reach out to the IR provider, then you will have the statement of work, budget, planning, and it would go to the procurement team and whatnot. And it may take up to 3 days before the first action can be taken on this ransomware attack. Just imagine if someone is having a stroke and you are attending this person after 3 days because of the formalities that are associated before attending this patient. And that is precisely what is happening in current situation where we are wasting 3 crucial days before we are taking the first response because we did not have enough or we did not have the internal capacity to do so. Ransomware is rising and it has been changing its facets. It started with encryption-based ransomware. What is encryption-based? This is the most common variant of ransomware we have known so far, where an attacker, if you remember the WannaCry incident in 2017, it started becoming bigger from there onwards. They come in, they encrypt all your systems and your data, and then they issue you a ransom note. But it has been changing facets. It has been evolving. As the COVID pandemic hit, and as the COVID virus was evolving, I know it's very unfortunate when I say these things, as newer variants of COVID virus was coming in, the newer variants of ransomware attacks were also coming in. And it started from encryption-based ransomware attack to double extortion ransomware attacks, in which what they do, they first enter your organization, your network, they identify the crown jewels in your organization, they exfiltrate or steal all the confidential data, your business critical information, your personal identifiable information, your other client information, purchase orders and whatnot. They steal and upload that information to their storage servers. Then they look for backup applications, backup devices. They delete all the backups. And in the very last stage, they go about encrypting the data. And it may even happen in order to earn some brownie points from you, in order to come off as someone who thinks about the business. Just imagine an attacker is thinking about me and my business. In order to earn some brownie points, they may just say, see, I am saving you the trouble of encrypting the data. But I already have stolen your data. So you better pay up. So in many ransomware incidents, it may also happen the encryption does not ever occur. Because now the ransom demand is being made on the fact that the data is already stolen, your confidential data, your regulatory data, your business client confidential data is already in their storage servers. And they say that if you do not pay up, we will make it public, and you will have to face a lot of reputational damage. You will have to face a lot of regulatory fines, and because of which it will be a lot more expensive for you. And your business model or the business confidentiality or secret may be out in the open. The third, now they are going further. Now they are coming up with a new variant called triple extortion ransomware attacks, where they go about deleting the backups, steal the data, and they also launch a high volume DDoS attack against you so that they can put more pressure on you to pay up. Now imagine, I'm already in an incident, and when I'm trying to solve this problem, now I'm not even able to do anything at all because I am also having a high volume DDoS attack against me, and my systems are not working. Some of the applications which were not hacked by the ransomware threat actor, now those are also not working because there is a high volume DDoS attack happening against us. So that is the reason I say that ransomware is no longer an attack type. It is no longer an attack type. Rather, it is an attack that contains multiple attack types. If you look at double and triple extortion, this has multiple attack types. This has aspects of data breach. This has aspects of DDoS, distributed denial of service attack. This has aspects of data destruction. So it is no longer an attack type, but it contains multiple attack types. Let me take a pause here. I guess I'm a little tired of talking so much here. Any guesses on, and when I say guesses, it is only a prediction. What could be the next evolution of ransomware attacks? Again, it's purely guess game, purely based on your experience, your prediction. I have one prediction that I will share, of course, but I would like to hear it from people that what do you think may be the next evolution? And there is no right answer because it's purely a prediction, a guess game. Any thoughts, please?
Anyone wants to try?
There are no wrong answers. Please, give it a shot.
Yes, you and me. Anyone wants to try?
It can be as crazy as it can be because ransomware threat actors are also going very crazy. I mean, I commonly
You want
say
to
that.
try?
Yeah, please. Anyone? Please, go ahead.
Okay, my prediction is only maybe the attackers may be using AI to create maybe other types of ransomware. Maybe first you use one type of encryption, and then you can easily to change another types of ransomware attack by using AI.
Absolutely. Artificial intelligence is now being
Thank
used
you.
by the threat actors in launching attacks. And that is how they are getting faster and faster when it comes to moving from initial access to encrypting the data. They are becoming very fast. So if stats are to be believed, in 2019, it would take them 68 days to move from initial access to encrypting the data. In 2022, it has come down from 68 days to less than 4 days. The fastest encryption that is done by ransomware threat actors is by logbit. Logbit 2.0, logbit 3.0, and they encrypt the data within 5 minutes, 50 seconds. And you remember the last life cycle we were looking at, it takes us more than 3 days to decide what to do. So you can imagine how slow we are, getting. We are getting drowned in our own solutions, not in our own problems. Because we have done so much of over-solution or over-solutioning that we are dealing with the complexity that we have introduced ourselves. By the way, don't worry, I have not forgotten about my prediction of the fourth or the next evolution of ransomware attacks. I predict, again, please do not quote me because there are no right answers for this, is that there will be some deception-based ransomware attacks in the near future in 2025 and beyond. What is deception-based ransomware attacks? In this case, the ransomware threat actors would launch multiple small attacks on an organization so that your security operations center, your defenders are busy in putting out those small fires and small attacks while they are able to launch a large-scale ransomware attack on this organization. So I predict that as they are evolving their tactics, there is a high likelihood that they would resort to deception-based or distraction-based ransomware attacks, because the current state of security operations center is very manual, very human-driven, and it is very easy to overwhelm the existing security operations center. And that is the reason such attacks may be seen very commonly or may come up in the near future. So as I was talking about, knowing your cyber enemies, half the battle won. So this is a report that is released by Sentinel-1 on the different ransomware threat groups and how prevalent and how the kind of ransom amount that they have been demanding in the industry. The link for this report is, I'm not sure it is very clear or not. Maybe I can, do you see this link on the right-hand side or left-hand side? S1.A1/EOY22. So you can download the report for free to get a better understanding of the ransomware threat actors, the kind of ransom demand that they are making, and to get a better understanding of it. So now let's look at the myth. What are the myths that we are going to debunk? Because that was the topic initially, right? What are the myths of ransomware that we need to debunk right away and right here? The very first myth, ransomware gangs won't attack us. We are too small for them. Ransomware gangs won't attack us. We are too small for them. How many of you agree this is a true statement? How many of you agree this is a true statement?
Those who agree, please raise your hand.
Anyone who agrees?
No one?
My job is already done, that means. Everyone is aware of it, right? But you would find it surprising. This is a paper notification in front of a restaurant that I saw just 3 months ago. And what is that? Let me enlarge that for you. This was in front of a restaurant which says, and it was a closed restaurant because it was the weekend, and it had a paper notification saying that no cash kept on this premises, which was a sign for the attackers or the thieves who would generally break in to steal the cash kept in the premises. So this restaurant was very upfront that there is no cash kept in this premises. Please do not break my glass door and come in and be disappointed. Sadly, this is the same strategy that a lot of mid-sized organizations and small organizations also use, saying that I don't have anything so expensive, I don't have any data which is of so much of value, I don't think so ransomware gangs will come after us. But that is a very incorrect approach, because even if you may not have something valuable, but you have something valuable, that is your reputation. And you do not want to attract negative press, and you do not want to get these kind of statements from your ransomware threat actors. And what does this statement say? The ransomware threat actors insulting the victim organization by saying that we are not going to launch another attack against this organization ever again. They were too easy for me. They were too easy. They did not have good controls. So just look at this. they would not want to launch another attack on XYZ due to how sloppy its internal organization and management appeared. And the team also alleged that the breaching was too easy given how weak the controls were. So just imagine your attacker is making such statements and your reputation will completely go for a toss. This was on a reputation side, but at the same time, let's look at the facts because we need facts. Ransomware threat actors, they target across the board, irrespective of the size. And if the stats are to be believed, if you look at this report from IBM Coveware report, Coveware is one of the major incident response provider, you would see that 84% of the organizations that were hit by ransomware were less than 1,000 employees strong. If you look at the statistics, you would also see 39.4% of the organizations that were hit by ransomware are in the range of 11 to 100 employee strength. And the reason is very simple. The mid-sized organizations are more likely to pay because of less governance models, because of less stringent policies and procedures, and less stringent disclosure policies. So they feel that it's easy to persuade them to make the ransom payment, and hence they target the mid-sized organizations and small organizations a lot more, and it's easy for them to get through. So I hope now you understand that it's not only the large enterprises that the ransomware threat actors are after, it's across the board. The second myth, backups are the best control against ransomware. True or false? Is it a myth or a fact? By the way, in 2017, when WannaCry happened, the disks were encrypted. And if you had the backups, you could restore all your data back from encrypted state, or you could recover all your data. So I feel this is a true statement. Backups are the best control against ransomware. How many of you think it's a true statement? It's not, but it's a fact. How many of you think it's a fact?
How many of you? Are you guys believe this is a myth or fact? Any answer? Myth or fact?
No worries. Let me make it easier. It is a myth. The reality is that backups are, first of all, very difficult. Even though you may have the backups, they are not tested. And at the time when you need it, you're not able to recover from it. That is the very first aspect of it. The second aspect is that backups were the best control until 2019. And they are not the best control today. We have to evolve with the evolving threat landscape. The controls and security should evolve along with the threat landscape. As now the threat actors are, first of all, stealing your data, exfiltrating your data to a storage server, and they are threatening you that they would make the data public. So even if you have the backups and your data is stolen, those backups are of no use. Secondly, in double extortion attacks, it's very common that they go ahead and destruct the backups before they exfiltrate the data. In those cases, the backups that you have will not be of any use. Backups certainly is something that you should have a part of your overall anti-ransomware strategy, but it should not be the core of your anti-ransomware control and anti-ransomware strategy that you're looking at. And if you remember, in many of the cases, the encryption may not even occur. In those cases, your backups will be of no use. The third one, this is an easy one, I promise. Up-to-date patching will save me from ransomware attacks. If I keep my systems up to date, I have no chances of ransomware attack. I am completely secured. Myth or a fact? This certainly looks like a fact. How many of you think it's a fact? Fact, myth, true, false? Okay, let me make it easier. I know we have some time constraints. This is, sadly, is also a myth. Because if you look at these statistics, I'm not sure how clear it is, but I can read it out for you. When it comes to top initial infection vectors, stolen credentials and brute force attacks, they constitute around 9% and 6%, that is 15%. And also, when it comes to phishing, it constitutes around 41% of the ransomware attacks. And vulnerability exploitation, something that can be fixed using patching, it only constitutes around 34% of the attacks. So what do I mean by that is, even if you have kept your systems up to date on patching, you're only able to secure yourself from 34% of the attacks. 41% of the attacks that starts from phishing, from stolen credentials, from brute force attacks, from identity compromise will still be prevalent and will still be there. So if you are very good on patching, first of all, kudos to you. Great job. It's not very easy to be 100% up to date on patching. But if you are 100% up to date on patching, don't be rest assured, because there are other methods that attackers are using to launch ransomware attacks and other attacks against your organization. Stolen credentials and phishing attacks account for 42% of the attacks in 2021. So you are never safe. In the interest of time, we may have to move a little faster. But the next myth, paying the ransom is the last resort. Does anyone agree that if I pay, throw money at the problem, and the problem will go away? Can I throw money at the problem and the money will go away? Sadly not. And I also commonly say, if you pay to the ransomware threat actors, they would again come the next year for renewal. That you subscribe to us, please now give us the renewal as well. So paying definitely is not the last resort, because first of all, if you pay up, there are high likelihood that they would come again to you and launch attack against you, because now you have been notified in their CRM or customer relationship management platform as potential to pay. And there are stats which suggest that if you have paid up, there are higher likelihood, 60% of the organizations got another ransomware attack within 1 year. The second aspect is that a lot of governments and regulatory bodies across the globe also prohibit you from paying to the ransomware actor, because the same money and funding can be used against the national security. In fact, we have so many examples where the Office of Foreign Asset Controls in US, it prohibits making money or payment to the ransomware threat actor. Also, the decryptors that the ransomware threat actors may promise you to share after you make the payment, it may not work. And a very common example that we have is the Colonial Pipeline attack, in which Colonial Pipeline made a payment of $5 million. They got access to the decryptor, but that decryptor was of no use. It was only decrypting systems, one system at a time, and it was of no use. So that is the reason why paying the ransom is also not the last resort. The last one, visibility is all we need for ransomware detection. We somehow feel that if we implement just one technology, if we get visibility on one single layer, that should be all good enough. But that is also not true, as the attackers are targeting not just endpoints, not just cloud, not just email. They are launching attacks against the entire organization. And they try to come through various different vectors. You receive an email, there is an attachment, you download the attachment, it downloads something from the web, then it tries to move from one system to another, then it goes to your identity infrastructure like Active Directory and whatnot. And you need visibility across all the attack surfaces of your organization, right from email, web, endpoint, identity, cloud, data, and all the aspects. And that is the reason you need visibility much beyond endpoint. And that is the reason why you do not just need visibility on endpoint, but you should look at comprehensive attack visibility across your attack surfaces. And that is the reason why the concept of extended detection and response, or XDR, has been introduced in the industry so that you can get an attacker's view of what all different attack surfaces that they are active in, and you are able to track it and see the visibility all across. So just quickly wrapping it up, if you cannot prevent an attack like ransomware, you should be prepared for it. And the 3 days that we lost in planning, it can be saved. These 3 days can be saved by making sure that you have incident response retainer agreement in place, so that whenever you have an emergency, you can get in touch with your incident response retainer service provider, and they can help you with this. These are some of the basic things that you should start your journey with. Have you performed health check of your existing controls? Have you conducted risk-based vulnerability management? Have you performed red teaming? Do you map it to monitor attack frameworks? And then you go about implementing controls. So in the interest of time, I'll just quickly come to the recommendation, and there is one more slide after that. You should have an incident response retainer agreement in place so that you know that this is the hospital that I need to contact in case I am getting a stroke. I should not be fumbling with what emergency number I should call when I am sick and I'm in an emergency situation. Incident response retainer agreements can be done in $0 agreement, where you only agree upon the terms and conditions and you don't even have to pay anything upfront, or it can be prepaid as well. Policies and procedures in place. Make sure that you know what you need to do in the moment of crisis. When you see that screenshot, you should not fumble. You should not look for options. It should be well documented that in case this happens, these are the 10 things that I need to start doing. You should have thought of that well in advance. Conduct tabletop exercises to see how effective the policies and procedures that you have created, that you have drafted, will work in a real life situation. Test your readiness. Ask a service provider, a red team exercise provider to launch attack against your organization and see how prepared you are. And get real-time visibility across your organization so that you are able to see how the attacker is progressing from where it came in and from where it is right now. So, these are the questions that you should ask yourself. How would you rate your organization's readiness? Do you have an incident response provider on the retainer? Have you conducted tabletop exercise? Do you have a ransomware specific playbook? Is your board and business sensitized on ransomware attacks? Do you have visibility across your attack surfaces? You should check the readiness of your organization by asking these questions, and that will help you understand what lies next. So I would just like to leave you with this thought, and some of these thoughts and statements are very much relevant in today's world as well. The more we sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war. The more prepared I am for ransomware attack, the quicker I will be able to recover from it, the shorter and the lesser the business loss will be. So it's better that if you cannot prevent it, prepare for it. So in case of a ransomware attack, we know how to recover from it and recover from it as quickly as possible. This is all me on ransomware. I'm more than happy to have more discussions with you offline. I am at Sentinel One's booth as well. It's right across, as you can see, the one in purple. Do visit us. Let us know if you have any thoughts, any comments from the presentation. More than happy to discuss. Thank you very much for your patient listening.
Please give yourself a big round of applause to Mr. Prateek for his wonderful presentation. The more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war. That's a very meaningful tagline, Mr. Prateek. All right, I guess you guys can go for any visiting booth or somewhere because we're going to have another session by 12:45, 11:45, sorry, for the next presentation. Thank you.